Greetings, and I've got a treat in store for you today with this December issue of the video review show. The title of today's paper is Success or Failure, Making Sense of Outcomes in a Public Sector Change Project. So I met the authors of this paper and I was delighted to see it published. I was lucky enough to see some earlier iterations of it. So the authors of the paper are Grete, Trude, Elsa, and the December magic is they come from the Artic University of Norway. And when I first met them, I looked it up. I just loved the idea of an Arctic university, and in the advertising shots there's all ice and students wrapped up in warm clothing. So I thought, what better to feature in the December edition? So I'm really keen to share this one with you, and I hope you really enjoy it. So what they were looking at was something that was very close to my heart: evaluations of organisational change, failure and success. And they were fortunate in that they were able to take some longitudinal research into Norwegian healthcare settings. I do like longitudinal research where we're able to spend a bit of time looking at issues. I think really if you understand change, success or failure, you have to look at it longitudinally. So all credit to these three women for getting in there and doing some really good research. It's going to be published shortly. At the time of writing it hadn't been published, but it'll be published in the ANZAM journal. I'll put a link below this so that anyone who wants to follow up the full paper can, but it is forthcoming and it is going to be a real treat. They favour sense-making approaches towards change narratives, and going through their list of references, they got some of the classic references in there, and I learned a thing or two from their references, so I was grateful. I need to declare an interest. They referenced me twice as well, which is always good for the ego, but that's certainly not why I'm sharing this today. What do I particularly like about it? They use a beautiful term in there, blurry boundaries, and to me the magic of their paper is it's about the blurry boundaries of organisational change. So in the real world you'll get change managers and project managers, and they're happy to cross-fertilise. If you go into any university you'll see all the books are very, very separate. They mustn't ever come together. I always did change management. I knew professors of project management, and they subvert these boundaries based upon the research they do, and I think that is a real positive of this particular paper. They're not seduced by these simplistic notions of change either failing or succeed. So again, there are blurry boundaries around failure and success, and they give some poetic insights into this. Also, there's blurry boundaries around the static dynamic nature of narratives. They talk very eloquently about, at one point, what can be a change failure can become a change success, and vice versa, and that ripples throughout their paper. So they also talk about the narratives overall in the organisation's change at different stages in a process of change, and I loved this. I thought it was really, really useful stuff. The other real strength for me of this paper is they've got some great qualitative insights, and I'm exclusively a qualitative researcher, and they use a term from one of their respondents, organisational faking, which I thought was lovely, organisational faking. And the respondent meant this is where you avoid a problem and you request a consultancy report. So an abdication of responsibility, which I thought, yeah, I've encountered that in organisations. As you go through the paper, they take you through the ebb and flow of the failure-success narrative. So they make their point so beautifully, and they offer a label which I hope catches, they coin a phrase, if you like, around the continuous interpretation of goals. So what we know is at the beginning of a change project there might be some goals, but they change over time. They're very, very fluid, and I like that term they coined. They end with 3 really thought out conclusions around the importance of sense-making approaches, which is really useful in organisational change. I didn't do enough sense-making work, but I loved what they'd done. They encourage longitudinal research designs, and we think of Andrew Pettigrew, who they cite in the paper, and that's very good in that sense. And then they talk, and it's where my head and heart are at the moment, about the importance of intersubjective meaning construction. Intersubjective meaning construction. That's where I got to in some of my thinking, and since the 2011 paper, but they take this on so beautifully. I'm lucky enough, as I say, to meet them, and they're like a sort of, how can I put it, a little collective of researchers who were there for each other. There was a nice energy around them, and I liked that, and I was envious really. I did so much writing on my own, so it's been nice to meet up with my Norwegian collective, and so pleased to see this paper's out there. I reviewed it for a British Academy conference, and it was a pleasure to review, and I was lucky enough to go along to their session. I'd met them before. And I should add, since I've seen the paper, it's evolved considerably, so it's gone through a really constructive review process, and they thought through some of their work quite a lot since I last saw it, so I was chuffed to see that. And anyway, I read the paper enthusiastically, got to the end, and they'd done an acknowledgement to me at the end, and that was so sweet. It used to be the convention 30 years ago, you'd often see an acknowledgement. I think in the performance management instrumental days of today, you see them less and less. But so, to Grete, Trude, and Elsa, I say tack. I hope I pronounced that right. Tack. Tack for mentioning me. Tack for the lovely interactions we had, and tack, most importantly, for viewers. I wonder what this Norwegian loving's all about. Tack for what is a really good paper, a well-written paper, a really important contribution to the debate, and I hope through my little mumbled video it might get you a few more viewers. So thank you sincerely, and I look forward to seeing further work by the 3 of you. Bye for now, as we say over here.